Welcome to the Checkered Floor Garage. My name is Frank, and this is the first episode in a new series of videos I'm making called Tech Tuesdays. For the pilot episode, we're going to be talking all about the sight glass. Alright, so behind the sight glass is the shifter shaft and pawl, among other things. And I like to keep the oil level right around the midway point between the low and high marks. That way it's easy to check for the appropriate oil level. If it's filled too close to the high mark, I find it harder to see if the oil level was good or if it's too full. When checking the Vulcan 750's oil level, do so with the engine off and cold, and also with the bike up on the center stand. This oil has 2,300 miles on it, and I usually go about 3,500 to 4,000 miles on my oil. So I've got another 1,000 plus miles left to go before an oil change, which means that my current oil life is at about 33%. I'm going to show the sight glass before, during, and after startup to illustrate what air entrainment looks like, which is when tiny air bubbles become entrapped in the oil as the oil circulates throughout the engine. So let's start the engine, let it warm up for just 1 minute, and then we'll compare the sight glass as it looks after 1 minute of running versus right now, cold. Let the bike sit for 10 minutes to allow the oil to drain back down. The oil isn't fully warmed up yet after only 1 minute of engine operation, so it doesn't really flow as quickly back down to the bottom of the engine. I don't see any visible air bubbles, but the oil does look a few shades darker after the engine ran for just a minute compared to before. Next, I'm going to get the engine and oil up to operating temperatures during a nice long ride, maybe like 30, 40 miles, and I'm also going to pick up groceries for the family along the way. Come on. I was suggested this video idea by a member and fellow moderator over at VN750.com, who goes by the name Spockster, to show what air entrainment in the oil looks like. Starting the engine and letting it run for a minute, the oil looks a little darker, kind of like chocolate milk, but then after it fully warms up, the oil looks normal again, a little bit later. Neat. So air entrainment in the oil is just a fancy way of saying some air got into the oil lines, maybe from normal operation on internal combustion engines from startup, or maybe turbulence from the initial flow of the oil pump, also from startup. Regardless, these tiny air bubbles make the oil, as viewed through the sight glass, appear darker due to the way that the light interacts with the bubbles and oil. The tiny bubbles can either scatter the light further into the dark oil or absorb light, which, both of which reduce the amount of light that reaches your eyes and therefore causing the oil to appear darker. Over time, as the engine gets up to operating temps, the oil thins out, which allows the air bubbles to escape. The type of oil that I'm running is this Shell Rotella T6 15W40. It's full synthetic. It's actually heavy-duty diesel engine oil. It's really popular over at the VN750 Forum. When I do my next oil change, I'm going to compare an oil analysis from Blackstone Labs between this stuff and the oil that I have been using for a number of years now, Motul 10W40. The last thing I want to mention regarding the sight glass and oil level is to obviously check this routinely throughout the riding season. Make sure that you're not losing oil, but also make sure that this level isn't going up. It can be a common problem on these Vulcans where the diaphragm in your petcock can fail. And even if you have it set to off, the fuel will still leak past the diaphragm, flood your carburetor bowls, specifically the front cylinder, because of the angle down. The fuel will flow into your front cylinder, come all the way down here, and over time you'll start, adding fuel to your engine crankcase. And I've read and seen horror stories on the Vulcan 750 Forum where this crankcase gets so diluted with fuel, so filled up, that you start getting like engine and fuel mixture just spraying out of everywhere. Shout out to Spockster for this video idea. If you've got other topics that you'd like to see covered, maybe something as part of this video series, Tech Tuesdays, leave a comment down below, or you can hit me up over at VN750.com, and I will add the idea to my long list of other video ideas, and maybe one day I'll get to it. And lastly, shout out to Buddy, another member over at VN750.com, for leaving me these parts. A couple years ago, he came over to help me troubleshoot a transmission shifting issue I was having, and he left me some shift drums and forks and these gears, all these parts that I am wholly ill-equipped to replace on my own bike. Like, if this broke on my motorcycle, I would just sell this and I would get a Vulcan 900 and I'd just start making VN 900 videos. I want this one. Thanks for watching my video. Have a good one. I forgot to mention this, but if you've got other technical insight regarding items related to the sight glass that I missed, comment below. Okay, bye.